Milo, I need you to take this seriously, okay? The last time we posted an episode was Halloween.
I just think it's you want to get something for Father's Day?
Yes, alright? You know, we have prime Father's Day audiences, okay? Our audience fucking loves DILFS. And you know that.
It's a little bit close.
Oh, it's too hard for you, editing boy? It's too hard for you to put it all together?
It's a little bit hard, yeah. I'm a little bit embarrassed.
Look at me.
Okay.
You think this job doesn't stress me out, talking about things? I can't even remember the last time I didn't talk about something.
Oh, no, it's okay. You'll get to talk about so many things. We're not gonna say it, are we?
No, we have to. It's the low-hanging fruit.
Okay. Happy Daddy's Day.
That's good. Alright, turn to the audience. Say it louder. Happy Daddy's Day!
Happy Daddy's Day!
Welcome to DigiDate. Welcome to DigiDate, a visual novel podcast. What that intro may not have led you to believe is that we have a special guest today. Come on out here.
Hello?
Why do you sound scared? Say it.
Happy Daddy's Day.
Ew! Ew! I didn't care for that.
Welcome to this is my I almost said my pervert boyfriend as like a joke, but that felt really cruel because it's like I also said it, so it's not really a perverted thing. Welcome. I have two of them. This is Ed.
Hi.
Welcome to the podcast. Should we say our names? I feel like we haven't said our names.
Yeah, it's been a long time. I'm your host. I go by two names, Nelsie and Nemo. Or, I mean, you can go into the comments section and you can say, I was actually really interested in your host, Peepums, and
are we gonna all get like fathers-esque? Can I be Gramps? Can I be Grampy?
Oh, that would be funny.
My name is Grampy.
I'm Peepums.
Hey, you know what I just fucking realized? This is not a dad theme thing. We're like grandparents.
I mean, I think Peepums could be a dad thing.
Sure, yeah. Okay, Ed, what are you?
No, I don't get one of these. I'm not a regular host.
Dadward.
I guess I'm Dadward.
All of our intros go on for like 2 minutes before we even mention the fucking game.
Yeah, oh god, I'm gonna have so much editing to do for this episode. If you notice, the last time we had a host was Foster. We had Foster on because it was sort of like, oh, look at our Mystic Messenger experience. This one's different. So we lied a little bit to you about the premise of this show just for this one episode because I know fuck all about Dream Daddy. We haven't even mentioned the fucking Dream Daddy.
Well, Milo knows the first 10 minutes of the game. I played quite a bit of it, and I have an impressive memory when it comes to putting together things from years ago.
And Ed is seasoned.
I spent 3 weeks only playing Dream Daddy, but unfortunately for those 3 weeks I only played Craig and Damien's routes.
You're a fucking crazy person.
So they're the only ones I know.
Hold on, cut the cameras. Are you telling me you're not an expert on Dream Daddy?
I'm an expert on Craig and Damien. And I'm somewhat of an expert on Hugo. I know Dream Daddy. I just don't know the others as well as my beloved.
This podcast is in shambles.
No. Come here.
Yeah.
With his addiction to these three men and my impressive elephant-like memory of video games, we can do this.
Okay, I'm still scared.
It's gonna be okay. Don't cry.
I'll say Happy Daddy's Day again to make myself calm down.
I didn't like it.
It's a gross bit.
So let's talk about Dream Daddy. Dream Daddy is... I think that we could put this in a couple of sections. I specifically want to outline there is a bit of controversy that comes with Dream Daddy because Dream Daddy is in association with some of the big YouTube upstairs guys, Game Grumps, some of those big dudes upstairs. Dream Daddy was made, if I remember correctly, it was produced by Game Grumps, like, they outsourced it to a different, like, art or game design group, but they were heavily involved in, like, the process when it came to voice acting and some story decisions. There's also references to them here and there. And you can definitely feel it in the narrative, and the thing about it is the Game Grumps are kind of contentious for some audiences. to be honest with you, though, I know that from the Everything About Me, it seems like I would know a lot about those guys. I really only listen to a couple Ninja Sex Party.
Yeah, I also don't know much about them. I remember when I was younger, I would peruse, but I really don't know much about Game Grumps at all.
When I was younger, I used to I used to watch them play Kirby's Epic Yarn, and that's the only Game Grumps content I've ever consumed other than Dream Daddy.
Yeah. So, if you wanted, like, an in-depth, like, idea of Dream Daddy from the eye of, like, a Game Grumps fan, unfortunately you'll get that from none of us. What you will get is that I was around in 2016 when it came out. I want you to think about, in 2016, Dream Daddy came out, and its contemporaries were Doki Doki Literature Club. Oh my god, Mystic Messenger came out in 2016, do you remember?
God.
And Pokemon Go.
Pokemon Go and Mystic Messenger feel so far removed in the timeline for me.
They do, but they were out the same time. Like, people were talking to these anime boys and posting about it at the same time everybody was going crazy about Shiny Dragonite.
I remember Dream Daddy became, like, a phenomenon. Like, you would see it in the news, which is, like, kind of insane in hindsight.
Yeah. And it's also, like... I think it's interesting because Dream Daddy had sort of so a lot of visual novels, we know this as visual novel players. But a lot of visual novels do not get the same visibility that Dream Daddy got. Reason for that is partially because the Game Grumps are an extremely popular channel, and so the visibility of Dream Daddy was heightened, and also, like, extremely memeable, very cleverly written. And, I'll say, very likable game. And I think that led to, like, a lot of the big media storm with Dream Daddy.
Yeah, how about you, Ed? What was your experience as a phenomenon?
My experience with Dream Daddy? As a phenomenon, it took me a little while to play it, because I originally got caught up in the whole, this game is bad because Game Grumps is bad, and also for other reasons hidden within the game files.
Oh my god, I want to make a section in the episode about that shit, because that shit was crazy.
Huh?
Don't you worry, Milo, this will be a surprise for you and some of the audience.
Yeah, we'll get to that, but so it took me a little while to play it, but I did, like, know of it when it first came out. And then, like, I'd say maybe, like, 6 months later, I got over that and borrowed my friend's copy of Dream Daddy. And, I fell in love with it.
Was I the friend?
I think you might have been the friend.
I'm kind of surprised I didn't play Dream Daddy, but I guess it just completely flew me by.
Yeah, it's one of those games where, like, I think that a lot of it also you could have absorbed through osmosis, because when people did start playing it, they would blog, like, basically every part of it.
Here's the problem with that. You would think I've absorbed any about Dream Daddy from osmosis. I don't know fuck all about the greater story in Dream Daddy. I don't know about the, I guess, secrets. I don't know about the dark underbelly. I don't know anything about Dream Daddy besides their dads and the first 10 minutes.
I think that's a great segue into talking about some characters. The way I'd like to format this is, first I want to talk about Amanda.
Oh, I love Amanda.
Amanda is your daughter. She is perhaps the most important relationship you'll have in this game. You can ruin her relationship with you. You can be a shit and ass father.
I do think it's funny that they did give representation to just every father that just sucks.
Yeah.
You can just be the worst.
I believe, like, the specifics are you can be a really authoritarian and bitchy dad, or you can be a really dependent father, and, like, it freaks her out because she's afraid to leave you behind.
I liked, from the bit I played, I did really like Amanda. I think that part of it was probably the most heart I felt in the game from the little bit I saw.
And this is a little thing. I like that Amanda's black. I really do. I think that, like, in games where you have a child, your child is usually default white. Or any game where you have a family, really. Like, I say this as a Dragon Age player. In Dragon Age Origins, you could be black and just have a fully white family. I played as a black Kuzland, which is the human noble situation. Obviously, very different genre of games, but, like, you can just you have a black character with a white family. They fixed it by Dragon Age 2, but it's like, man, the default being white for a lot of characters is like, it's one of those things that is not usually, like, challenged very often, so I thought it was an interesting decision that, like, Alex, your dead wife's been wife or husband, is always a person of color and your kid is always black. I think that's a good choice. I like it. I think it's nice that it's, like, an unquestioned thing. Sweet.
Yeah.
Amanda is, like, an interesting character because, like, a lot of moments with her definitely do feel like you feel like her dad. Like, she's your kid, and you did a pretty good job so far, but you can really fuck it up in this home stretch.
You do definitely, from the little bit I played, it does really feel like at the beginning, it's sort of like you really are struggling also with the fact that you're now the only parent. You don't have another parent to work with, so you're kind of struggling with how difficult you want to be on her, because you both are going through a rough time.
Especially now that you just moved, and blah blah blah, and blah blah blah, but you're at least happy that your kid is cool. It would be such a bummer if she wasn't cool.
She's very cool.
She's the coolest kid, I think, in the game.
'Cause her competition is, like, I think, should we introduce the dads along with their children?
Yeah, I say yes.
Probably.
Okay. Let's talk, we'll go down the dad line in alphabetical order, alright? Which unfortunately is gonna lead me to my personal favorite, Brian. I love Brian a lot. And I would be careful about what you say on my podcast, Edward.
I respect your love for Brian.
I wish he was wearing a weed shirt.
He would be better if he was wearing a weed shirt.
I don't want him to do that!
I think it'd be real funny.
Smoke weed!
I think he should.
I think it would be cool if he did.
No, here's the thing is Brian is the type of person who bragged about the quality of the weed he smoked in college. He's like, I've smoked indica, sativa, I smoked a mix of the two, oh, knocked me flat off my ass for 3 days, and then you're just like, man, I just had weed. I don't know.
Do you want to see my daughter's
green.
pencil drawing?
That's just my whole issue with Brian. I don't like how he has to constantly be better.
But I think that's, like, the point of his route, is part of it is just, like, the characterization of your dad, Sona, is projecting a bit, like, your insecurities onto Brian, whereas Brian's not necessarily doing it intentionally. He's just a guy who sometimes is a little bit boastful, but most of the time, like, is just some guy.
Yeah.
And, like, throughout his route, it's just you, like, escalating the situation, and eventually he's just like, you want to be buds? And lovers. And I like his route a lot. I like Brian. What appeals to me about Brian is, I can, my sexuality situation is always bananas, bonkers, insane, but I gotta say, when it comes to men, I like a bear, and I'm happy they put one in here.
I do like that he's a bear.
I do like that he's a bear. I think there would have been riots in the streets if there wasn't at least one bear.
How fucked up would that be?
I don't want to imagine Dream Daddy without a bear.
It wakes me up in a cold sweat.
But yeah, Brian, I think, is one of the most surface level and simple routes in the game. I like it for that reason. It's simplistic. He has his daughter Daisy, who's a very smart young lady. She's 10 years old. She's definitely gonna end up with some sort of mental illness as an adult.
Most gifted child syndrome child.
Oh, for sure. I do love her and her relationship with Amanda, though.
Yeah, I think it's super sweet. Like, they become friends, and it's basically just having a free babysitter, but
Amanda should charge.
She should.
But, there isn't much to say on Brian except for the fact that I love him, and I think he deserves to brag about his daughter, and I do think it's really funny when we were playing, and in the first 10 minutes, and we met Brian, and Milo, we were going through the whole Pokemon battle, and Ed starts talking about how he doesn't care for Brian, and I got so defensive, and I was like, well, maybe he should be proud of his daughter, and then it's like, yeah, but he's bragging over our daughter, and I just said, well, maybe our daughter should be better.
You became such a Brian defender. You started to hate on Amanda.
It was cruel and unusual, but we all go through stages, Brian's route is mostly, you just challenge him to different competitions. And you end up embarrassing yourself a little bit. I also like that it's an examination. Brian's route is interesting to me because the dad Sona in Brian's route specifically, and technically in all routes, because, same guy. But you just have issues with your own dad. Like, there's a point where you wake up from, like, a nightmare where it was just a memory of your dad berating you while you're fishing.
Oh gosh.
And it's just, like, not too intense, but just, like, your dad held you up to a standard you couldn't live up to. And it contributes to your issues with, like, one, feeling adequate as a parent, and two, with Brian in general. I think it's interesting that it got into, like, I like when a narrative in a dating sim focuses on the protagonist an equal measure as the love interest, and focusing on how that dynamic, you know, would flourish in the certain conditions that the protagonist is under.
I do like that, yeah.
I think that's what I from my little bit of Dream Daddy AS, I really liked how they did the protagonist. I'm a big person in game design. I find it really interesting how you make your protagonist, because if you want a blank slate protagonist or protagonist that you create, it's kind of boring to me in a visual novel when you have a completely blank slate, because then it's just sort of like nothing. It only works in certain cases, like in Mystic Messenger or something.
Even then, I would argue there is some character to, like, the Mystic Messenger protagonist who, even if that character is just, you are very nice.
Yeah, it's still a personality trait, which you kind of need. But I like in the Dream Daddy one, the personality trait is, it's like you're kind of a fun dad, you're trying to be the cool dad, and it still feels like you can put yourself in that character's shoes and imbue that character while also not losing a sense of personality.
Yeah, they did government assign you social anxiety, which we'll talk more about when we go to Matt, but it is...
That was a little annoying to me. Didn't appreciate how much my MC would constantly talk about how they wanted to go take a nap and they hated to talk to people.
Yeah, it's one of those things where I really like the protagonist characterization. And moving from there, we're going in alphabetical order, and I definitely know the order that the alphabet goes on, which leads us to Craig. Ed, take it away.
Think I'm in love with Craig from Dream Daddy.
Whore!
Me or Craig?
Well, a little bit
you. No.
Okay, I was gonna say both are true, but
Both.
he's the, like, fitness dad. I think something like that. But I really like his relationship with the MC and how they were friends in college and roommates, and I like hearing about him in the past and how he's changed as a person, even though we don't get to see him go through that growth. The growth that we see in his route is him learning to take care of himself, which I think was just a really interesting choice, and I liked being able to help him through that.
That's sweet. I didn't know you got to take care of him.
Yeah.
Did you like that he was sexy?
I did like that. I guess I'm allowed to say spoilers for the end of his route, considering this is a podcast about the game. But spoiler warning, I guess, for his third date. I do like that his third date, the writers watched Brokeback Mountain for inspiration. It ruined them so bad they didn't write for 2 days.
Oh, Brokeback Mountain is a fucking devastating movie. It's so
good. Brokeback Mountain is such a sad movie. Me and Nemo watched that.
I still haven't seen it. I still haven't seen it, which is insane, because
it.
I love sad movies.
You have to watch it with us.
I will, eventually.
You gotta watch him take it up the ass.
He takes it up the ass? No fucking
No lube.
Everybody mentions this, but none. Like, zero.
They do that in Dream Daddy as well. I can't remember them ever mentioning that.
I'm gonna faint.
Because if your date with Craig goes well...
Hold on. I don't know why this surprises me so much. I always assumed that in the sex scenes for Dream Daddy, it was just like a tasteful cutaway. You're telling me they're just like honey popping it?
No.
It does have a cutaway, but like, they're on a camping trip right now.
Yeah, and there's some detail. I mean, the Robert scenes... You get some description of some kissing.
Yeah, you get some detail in the Craig scenes as well. Or the Craig scene, I should say.
Yeah, you don't get, like, porn, but a tasteful amount.
Tasteful. I don't know, I'm trying to picture what it'd be like. Maybe I should just Google sex scenes Dream Daddy.
Yeah, you do that and get back to it.
Yeah, hold on. I'm gonna go...
We'll continue talking about Craig and his 3 wonderful daughters.
Keep going, I'm gonna watch sex scenes.
Yeah, Craig has 3 daughters. He has a set of twins and a baby.
I do love them. I think they're all very fun. I like that they're on every sports team. I don't know how many sports teams they're on. I assume they're on every sports team. He's insane.
And there's that bit where Craig is flirted with by that random MILF.
I do love that everyone wants him. Every single person on this PTA wants him so bad.
They want him carnally.
When he and Smashley divorced, like, the PTA threw a party for him, I bet.
I like that. Okay, that's part I did get to. I really like that. I'm a sucker. I know this is kind of like not a thing that a lot of visual novels like to do, because obvious reasons, but I'm a big fan of stuff where the MC and the protagonist, MC and the character know each other beforehand.
Yeah. I love that kind of stuff, and I love how it plays into, like, your protagonist still clearly feels inferior for not having progressed as much as Craig has since college, but it's clear that they've just progressed in, like, very different ways.
The relationship with the self.
Like, Craig has thrown himself into being, like, very into his business, his fitness, and his daughter's lives, while the MC is just a dad, and that's kind of it, like a dad with social anxiety.
And, you know, I think there is an element of, like, Craig kind of does feel that way about you, too. You know, you're in a good place with your daughter where she's, like, a successful on-to-school person, and also, like, you're certainly not fucking neglecting yourself like he is.
Yeah. Oh, the only way you could argue that he's neglecting himself is that he doesn't, I don't know, take care of his body as much as Craig does. But that's not neglecting himself, he just doesn't work out. But I do like that it's clearly a thing that he grows to enjoy doing. I'm also just a big fan of his second date, where you have to find the toy for his baby.
Yeah, it's super cute. And also,
there's just
those freakish
those
twins.
freakish twins. I do love them, though.
Do you remember when there was a game glitch where the twins would just, like, not disappear from the screen?
It's so funny.
They just follow you.
There's just a lot of real sweet moments in the Craig route that I enjoy. I like that you convince him not to overwork himself. I like the scene where they're playing football, you get, like, hurt or something, and he, like, kisses your bruise. It's kind of funny to me. It's kind of sweet. I like that they're just being dads together.
It's really fucked up how normal it is for kids to have scraped knees, because I scraped my knee recently when I fell off my bike. That shit hurts.
Oh god, yeah.
That shit is bad. Like, your knee, I don't know what it is about the knee skin, it is like a paper.
I could take that shit as a champ as a kid, but now if I just gently, like, rub my knee against anything, I'm like, ouchie, ouchie,
oh my god, it hurts. That's how I am.
I think kids are just more resilient, I think. I once ran, like, headfirst into a wall, and, like, my nose was messed up in some sort of way, and I just walked away.
When I was a kid, I used to lick Clorox wipes.
You're sick in the head.
You're crazy.
You're insane. Well, I can't really say much. I used to huff Sharpie fumes.
I know this is coming. Oh my god, you both are crazy. And yet you bullied me because as a kid I wanted to swallow pennies so I could see how they jingled in my stomach.
No, you're also crazy. I think we can all agree that we're all crazy.
You're fucking nuts.
The thing about it is that you two ate things. I at least, like, knew that wasn't a good thing to do.
You take it back. I never got to eat those pennies.
Okay, you wanted to eat. You ate sand.
Okay, every kid eats sand.
No, they don't!
No, I didn't.
I didn't eat sand, I drank the pool water, thank you very much.
I loved the pool water.
I never ate anything I wasn't supposed to.
It was such fancy water.
Even now I can't go to the pool without at least ingesting a little bit of water.
You're sick!
I think you're insane.
It's not intentional whenever I take a gulp now, it just happens.
You're insane.
I think we got so off topic.
Let's move on to the next dad. Let's talk Damien.
Why is he shaped like a dumbbell?
And like I said, you're gonna pretend this man isn't into corsetry?
You make a good point.
I like the idea of viewers, if you ever loved me or Milo or, you know, Ed in these brief moments you knew him, please do a version of the Total Drama fan art with Alejandro picking Heather up by the waist like a dumbbell, but with Damien.
Okay, Ed, explain to me Damien.
He's the goth dad and he's the one trans dad, which I think is very good representation, as a goth trans person myself. I like that he's a little bit insane, and, I just think he's neat.
Yeah, but I like that Damien is a trans man. I did not know that.
Yeah, I think he mentions it, like, in the first day, he just offhandedly mentions that he used to wear binders.
I like that.
Oh yeah, he talks about how he collects a lot of Victorian fashion, and, like, you could even find binders from the Victorian age, and it's like, yeah, transgenderism.
Yeah, I also like that he has Naruto fanfiction bound in, like, an antique book. Damien was just bait for me specifically. He's goth, he's trans, he likes Naruto, he likes volunteering with animals.
Yeah, and I think one of the best things, okay, so I also really love Damien, and I think part of it is because he's a man with long hair. Moi.
Yes.
Magnifique. One of the things I also like about Damien is, and we must admit this, Damien's got one of the best kids in the game.
Oh, absolutely.
Damien's son is named Lucian. He is also, he is a young goth child.
My father like son.
Yeah. And he's just sort of a rebellious teen. He's, I think about Lucian sometimes because he's, like, incredibly funny. Like, he's clearly a very smart young man based on the fact that he tried to cask of Amontillado another child.
I did appreciate that. It was very fun.
It's kind of everything. Also, Lucian and Damien have, like, a good and strong relationship, even as, like, so this is coming from somebody who, like, I love my parents very much. You know, I have been in arguments with them before. I have been in situations where, like, I was upset with them at the time, and I felt like that I was on too short a leash, but at the end of the day, you know, they have my best interests in mind. And, like, I think that that's well reflected with Lucian and Damien, where you have, like, moments where, like, Damien is having to put his foot down in the situation where he's like, you can't go around cask of Amontillado-ing a young child. And Lucy's like, fuck you, Dad. And I remember the specific dialogue because it hits so hard and it puts a smile on my face. But it's like, Lucian says, like, after a while he's pouting in the backseat, and he's just like, I'm not going to see another therapist. And then Damien is like, you don't have to if you don't want to.
It's really sweet to me.
Oh my god. And then at the end of his route, when Lucian talks to you, and he's like, listen, my dad's a weird guy, but he's a nice guy, and he deserves somebody who makes him happy, and you seem to do that.
They mean everything to me.
That's so cute.
So sweet. So I think
It's
about
so
it.
sweet.
Yeah, also really enchanted by at the end where he's in... Now this is where we get into big spoilers territory. Spoilers, everybody. For his third date. Damien works in IT.
Oh.
He works in IT where he wears glasses and puts his hair in a ponytail. He doesn't want you to fucking know about it.
He's gotta keep up his goth persona.
That's my take on Damien.
Yeah.
I like him. I like his dumbbell body.
He's cute, he's sweet. I like that he likes rom-coms.
Yeah. Also, I think good to mention that Damien and another dad in the game, who we'll talk about a bit later, Hugo, they get together if you don't romance either.
Oh, that's very funny. Maria told me that while I was, like, playing through a bit of a Hugo date, and I was like, oh, that's fun. Hugo does love antiques.
And I realized that based on the alphabetical order, we're talking about Hugo now.
Oh my god, that was the best segue we've ever done. I'm creaming.
So...
That was gross. That was fucking disgusting. I'm so sorry.
You have to keep it in the podcast. You have to keep it in the fucking podcast.
That was really gross, though. Ugh.
Hugo, Milo hasn't played the game, aside from the 10 minutes we did. It would have been longer than 10 minutes, but I fell asleep.
Yeah, Nemo fell asleep. I don't know what that says about Dream Daddy, but Nemo did fall asleep.
I think it says more about Nemo just being tired than anything about the game itself.
But I fell my ass asleep. But there was a reason. Now, Milo was on Hugo's route partially because he likes him, and partially because we both peer pressured him into it. Because there is one thing in Hugo's route that I knew Milo was gonna love, and it is professional wrestling.
He's a wrestler?
Well, he's a big wrestling fan.
Oh.
He's a huge fucking wrestling fan. A lot of Hugo's thing is, one, he's a big fucking nerd. He's a big nerd. He can't stop talking about classical art and shit. 2, his son hates him so bad.
His son hates him so
much.
much.
His son hate him?
His son hates him and won't stop vaping in the car. So, there are some hints that Ernest has difficult feelings about Hugo's divorce. Hugo also, canon, has been with a man before. Ernest is so sad about his gay dad divorce. Ernest is interesting to me because I remember when the game first came out, people were like, it's so unrealistic. Ernest is like 13 years old and is smoking cigarettes and weed and stuff, and it's like, that's just my younger brother. Hugo is a huge professional wrestling fan, and like, there's some sense that he's a little embarrassed about it because it's not the most intellectual of interests, and I think it's so sweet. Because on one of your dates, you go to see a wrestling match together, and it's so fun. But then also, if I remember correctly, there's a point where you guys are like play wrestling and then you kiss.
Oh, I adore that like a lot. I love a wrestling dad. No, I didn't get to see the wrestling parts. I'm not sure if I can judge the possible references to real wrestling in there.
It is pure Milo, babe. Milo loves professional wrestling.
I love professional wrestling. I'm a big fan of the women's league in the WWE. I love their outfits, I love their costumes, I love their fights, they're really talented wrestlers, and this is all I will say on the topic.
Oh, you're a homosexual?
They're yeah. Well, they're also just very talented. I've got kind of bored with the men's side of WWE wrestling.
Yeah, because the men just kind of throw each other around.
I love they have interesting stories, but I don't know how much more I can take of these men being like, I'm possessed by a demon. How many times are we gonna do this? I just think that there's too many men in wrestling that have been possessed by demons. I think it's boring.
Wait a second. I just remembered from that bit when they talk about how the Undertaker just fucking killed a guy, but the guy, like, because he's a wrestler, just was back next time.
They used to, like, put people in the backs of, like, ambulances they would bring into the ring. And they weren't actually hurt. They would just pretend to put them in there, and then, like, the Undertaker or somebody would run out, just start beating the shit out of the ambulance, and then pull them out.
Yeah, and the Undertaker would only come by, like, once a year. So it would be like, I'm really mad at the Undertaker for fucking killing me. Guess I'll see him next year.
Yeah, and then he got lost to, the most stale and boring man in the universe wrestler, whose name I forgot, because he was so boring.
Is it Brock Lesnar?
Brock Lesnar. He's so boring. He wasn't even possessed by a demon.
Not even possessed by a demon. Like the Undertaker or Kane, or the Undertaker or Kane.
Okay. When I was a kid, I thought those were the same people, and I was confused.
They seem like the same guy.
Yeah.
What is Kane, like the Undertaker's little brother?
I don't remember. I just remember he was a big fan of, he was really good with the yes guy, whose name I forgot. But he would go, yes, yes, yes.
That sounds like the guy from The Bachelor who would go, waboom!
He would go, yes, and then he had it. Whenever he was evil, though, he would go, no. I'm not fucking with you.
I like that this episode of DigiDate has a prolonged monologue about professional wrestling.
But I liked Hugo. I like that he's a little boring, but I think that's endearing in some men. Not all men, but it works for Hugo.
It does. And I like his son. I like when kids are shitty.
Yeah, I do like his son. He's real funny to me.
A, B, C, D, E, F, G, H, I, J. Okay, let's talk about Joseph.
Evil. I don't know him, but he's I don't know, he's wrong.
Fuck that guy.
I kind of hate him. I think he's funny.
Yeah, he is hilarious. There are 3 sections on Joseph I want to talk about. Sections. There are 3, like, Joseph layers I want to talk about. Doing his route just by itself without talking to anybody else. Doing his route knowing the full story. And the bonus content. So, if you do Joseph's route regular, he is definitely a guy who cheats on his wife.
I don't like that you have to make him cheat to date him. It just feels so scummy.
I mean, he's making that choice to cheat. I'm sorry.
Yeah.
Like, that is...
I know, I don't like
That's
him.
for him and Mary to sort out.
That's him.
Now, I also do want to say, his wife is fine as hell. Like...
His wife is hot.
I'm a gay guy, so...
Joseph, definitely a guy who cheats on his wife. There are a lot of funny moments, in his thing. Where, like, you have some fun, like... You're at the Christian youth group party, and Ernest vandalizes a sign, so you have to get the word "come" off the sign, if I remember correctly. And then, like, there's also baking with his scary, scary fucking kids. Joseph has the most kids of any dad there. He has 4 children.
Yes.
2 of them are twins. Their names are Chris and Christy. No, okay, his oldest son is Chris. His twins are Chris and Christy. Christian and Christy, and then his youngest child is named Krish. And is a baby. His wife is named Mary. It's a Joseph, Mary, and Christ thing. Now, here's my thing is, so, if you did his route regular, you'd come out with, yeah, he's a scumbag, I guess, but, whatever. Now, the real interesting part comes when, if you do 2 dates with Robert and all 3 dates with Joseph, Robert will show up at the beginning of your 3rd date with Joseph to tell you should not bother with Joseph.
Oh!
Yeah, so let me break out some lore for you. Robert and Joseph are exes.
What?
They used to fuck. There are some hints at this, mostly in the fact that, so Robert and Joseph, one, there's that bit where Robert's like, you shouldn't go on that boat with him. You go on his boat, because he's got a fucking boat. Oh, also his thing is full of Jimmy Buffett
to
references.
endear him to the audience, so you'll fall into you'll be prey.
You go on his boat, and, like, you fuck, and So it mentions that there is a photograph of him and like other dads in the neighborhood, specifically Robert, who is wearing the sweater that Joseph has over his shoulders all the time.
Oh.
Yeah, baby. But, so that's just a little bit of lore. And it's like Joseph in general kind of uses people. And also, like, very clearly, is cheating on his wife, which sucks. There's also, you might want to justify it by saying that Mary, when you first meet her, is flirting with men at bars. So you are kind of inclined to believe she does the same, but there's also, like, hints in the game that she has actually never went home with another person.
Oh.
She just flirts for fun.
That's really... Also,
Yeah.
I got an inkling from, like, the first barbecue that she knows that he's cheating on her, which made me really sad. I don't know if that's true, but it felt like it.
It does, and like, I don't know, there's something about the fact that Mary and Robert are such close friends, too. So that's my thing about Joseph's route, is that when you play it, his and Robert's route really do make it like, oh man, shit just got real. It's frustrating and uncomfortable because they feel so tangible in that sense, where it's like they're making human mistakes and scummy decisions that, like, you can see a person making, and they're not always... it's not always going to be fun in games and fucking 2016 era memes. Sometimes, sometimes people are like habitual users, and sometimes people like don't want to face the consequences to their actions, and sometimes people are cheating on their wives. And Ed, do you have any more commentary on this before we get into
I can't really say much about Joseph's route because I haven't personally played it myself. Are we gonna talk about is that later?
Yeah. I want to talk about it about now, if that's alright with you.
Yeah.
So let's talk about cults.
Yeah.
Let's talk about what?
So Dream Daddy came out in Father's Day of 2016. And it's obviously got some elements of it that are a little bit funny, a little bit quirky, where it's like Joseph is like a Christ reference, and he's got these two creepy twins. And so, in the data of the game, people found this out before it was released. I believe it was released as a Halloween DLC. You can get a cult leader ending with Joseph.
You can get a what?
I think if you do something extremely specific.
Yeah, like really, really specific.
Like, what could you possibly do?
It's some extremely specific thing you have to do in the game. Apparently the title of the route is Escape from Margarita Zone.
It's a little funny.
So it was a totally non-canonical thing, and do you mind if I read a full note from the creators?
No, I don't mind.
Hey, we originally put this into the game because we're big horror fanatics, but cut it before we released for obvious reasons. But then people found an old version of it buried deep within the game files anyway. We absolutely acknowledge that this ending is conceptually messy, and if the existence of it sullies your experience with the rest of the game, just know that it's totally non-canonical. We made it intentionally impossible to get unless you're actively seeking it out so nobody could stumble onto it by accident. So without any further ado, here's the cult ending.
Oh my god.
Yeah, so it's a non-canon, like, ending where basically Joseph is a cult leader. I believe when it, like, got officially added to the game, which is the only way I would have gotten to it, because I'm not really a data miner. I had already, like, fallen off of Dream Daddy at that point, but I had heard from people who were, like, really upset about this. Because, basically, because Joseph, his whole route is being a closeted gay man who cheats on his wife, people found it really offensive that there was an ending where he's a cult leader, which I thought was weird, because they're all gay.
I will say I got really swept up in it because I was like, why does he have to be a cult leader? I never really thought about the fact, like, hey, they're all gay people. One of them can be an evil if he wants. It's not bad that one of them is evil.
Also, I would argue that I don't think he's exactly a very good person before that.
He's already evil! He cheats on his wife! Also, I found out to get that ending, you have to choose really fucking specific, like, specs for your dad.
Yeah, and then you have to name him Jimmy Buffett. You have to be Jimmy Buffett in order to get the cult ending.
That's a little funny.
It is very funny. I have kind of done the cult ending. I've made Jimmy Buffett in Dream Daddy, but I got bored halfway through.
I would love to fucking do this ending, actually, because now that I'm reading on it for the sake of our podcast, it does seem really funny.
It's ridiculous.
Matt I can get through really quickly. He's super hot. Like, I really can't get over how sexy they made Matt.
He is the hottest dad.
Matt. Oh yeah, Matt is a fucking smoke show.
He's super fucking hot. His whole route is basically, like, getting over social anxiety, which I think is cool, because, like, your dad is sort of portrayed as socially anxious in general, so I think it's nice that, like, there is a route where you basically just work it out with somebody else who deals with the same shit.
I like that he's a kind of a little bit, wouldn't say pretentious, but, you know, that kind of feeling cool guy.
Yeah. And, like, he's got his daughter, Carmencita. She's just cute. I don't have a lot to say about Matt aside from the fact that I think he's just super fucking hot. I think he's so...
He is the hottest dad in the game. And I think that it's cool that he's cool.
One thing I do want to say about Matt, not about him specifically, but just because I'm on his wiki page right now looking at his trivia, just because I like to do that with characters. And I do want to be very clear that he is named after members of the Front Bottoms.
No!
What?
This is mentioned in his trivia section.
No, you've got to be fucking with me. What are you talking
Matt
about?
Sella?
Why?
I can send a screenshot right now.
Oh my god. No.
Oh my god.
No.
For those at home, me and Nemo are big closeted Front Bottoms listeners.
I listen to music of the Front Bottoms, even though I would like you to respect me. I knew it was weird that it was spelled with only one T. I knew it was weird.
Why is he named after the Front Bottoms?
Wouldn't it be really funny if he fucking hated their music? Because it does seem like the kind of band a cool person would hate.
It's somehow funnier to me if he's just a huge Front Bottoms head, because he really does not seem like the kind of guy who's into, like, that kind of music.
It just Matt, like, really getting into, like, this is for the Lions.
Because you are water 12 feet deep. That's a worse song, by the way. That's their worst song, is 12 Feet Deep. That song fucking sucks.
No. To me, their worst song is, the one where he says, I need some sexual healing. Because I don't want to imagine the Front Bottoms guy having sex. I'll be real with you.
There's too many Front Bottom songs that have just, like, one father. Father just has that back end of Father, just ruins it.
Because the second verse of Father is really fucking good at the beginning. But the second verse just fucking, what is happening here? I am part Native American. I just don't want I just don't want fucking Brian Seller or whatever to get any sexual healing.
I hate this because now I've been forced to learn the names of the Front Bottoms members.
But anyway. Robert. So there are two versions of Robert's route. I love Robert a lot. Robert was, if I remember correctly, the most popular character from Dream Daddy.
That makes sense.
If I remember correctly, he was the most popular because his narrative is, like, really in-depth. Also, he's, like, at the time everybody was really into BuzzFeed Unsolved. And he's, like, kind of a cryptid head. So, you know. Yeah, basically. Robert was advertised as bad dad, and boy does he deliver, but in a way that is really fucking heartbreaking. So Milo, this is spoilers for his route. This whole bit on Robert's gonna be spoilers, because this is the best way I can think to explain him. The tragedy of Robert, I think, comes from the fact that, like, a lot of his route, you're goofing off, you're doing, like, fun, you know, cryptid searching things, or just spooky stuff, or going to haunted houses and being belligerent and shit. Robert is the only father in the game with an adult child.
Oh.
Yeah, he has a daughter named Valerie. Valerie is, like... And she does not talk to him at all. And you can only meet her if you successfully go through his route. So that includes, Robert is the only dad who, at the beginning of the game, you are given an opportunity to sleep with him. And if you want to pursue your relationship any further, you have to say no. Because if you sleep with him on the first date, he loses respect for you.
He slut-shames you, and that's really fucked up, I think.
I think it's really funny. I really would like if this fucking plane or whatever outside my house would go away so I can record my podcast. Is that an ambulance? Who fucking died? Can they do it somewhere else?
Being a podcaster really takes your humanity, I think.
If you don't sleep with him, then you go on all 3 dates, and he does end up confessing to you, you know, after you fail to have sex with him. On the 3rd date, he confesses to you that his daughter is a grown adult who doesn't talk to him, and part of the reason for that is that, one, his ex-wife is dead. She's his ex-wife because she's dead. He confesses that to you, and then he also confesses that he just wasn't a very good father. Like, in general, it was just hard for him to get himself together, and this is evidenced by the fact that he is an alcoholic. And it's just that a lot of his life has been, like, sort of a train wreck. And it's interesting there because, like, there's a lot of humanity to Robert, where he's just getting through a lot of business with like being mentally ill and frankly not having any good coping mechanisms. And also, Robert, at the end of his route, if you do everything right, still doesn't start a relationship with you. He mostly just, he does tell you that he wants to eventually, but he wants to work on bettering himself as a person first, to be deserving, one, of his daughter, but also of you as a person. He wants to be somebody you could be proud of.
Aww.
I like him a lot. He's fucking terribly depressed.
He seems like the Mr. Depression.
But he and Mary are good friends, which is nice.
That is sweet. Two depressed people found each other.
But yeah, I would say the appeal of the Dream Daddy love interest is like, there's different levels of depth. You can choose your commitment to like how sad you want to go.
My experience with him is he just seemed like the kind of man who doesn't have a bed frame. And that's all I have my opinion on him, is he seems like a man who doesn't have a bed frame. Now, is that a bad thing? I can't say, because what if someone listening doesn't have a bed frame?
My conclusion on Dream Daddy is that, like, it was always just a really solid game. Like, there's some parts of it that are a little corny. I definitely think there are some UI decisions where I'm like, man, that could have been a little more vibrant, that could have been done a little different. And the minigames, like, to me...
Move over! Now, I'm not gonna be too nitpicky with this, because I do think the Dream Daddy UI has a lot of stylistic fever to it. Fervor, wrong word. The UI, it's missing it. It's missing. There's just something about it. I think specifically what I'm talking about is the load screen. The load screen design on its own, it's clear that they did not put text on it to see how that would look, because the text on it makes me bonkers insane. The text on the background for the loading screens looks like it is not supposed to be there. It really does not read well, because they always have the text come across the bottom of the screen, because it's a tip, it's a dad tip. And it goes across, it's like a block minimalist setup. And because of that, it goes over different shades of these blocks, and it just looks like it's not supposed to be there. It kind of messes with me. The same thing with the Dream Daddy UI is I think it has a lot of very fun, small stylistic choices. I like that the text box always has a constantly, like, rotating dot pattern in the background. That's very subtle. Super fun. Really fun. I like the UI. I like that it's kind of like, it doesn't overstay its welcome in the terms of, like, it doesn't try to take up too much of the screen. Though I wish it took up more of the screen. I think that it's a little, limited. But, that's good for some games. I just like my UI to be a lot more full. But it's good, and I think the design is very fun. The backgrounds are a little bit not for me. Just not for me. But I do appreciate it. Then that's my opinion. That's my game design opinion. That's what I have to say. It looks nice. It is a bit limited, but I think it gives it more screen space. I took game design classes.
If we're talking about game art and everything, I want to discuss the, like, pinups that they have at the end of their routes.
They have pinups at the end of the routes?
They have pinups at the end of their routes. The thing about the pinups that gets me is that while it's fun that a lot of different artists worked on the pinups, it really is weird to look at when then Matt's is the only one that is consistent with the Dream Daddy art style.
Why did they do that?
I don't know. But Matt's is, like, the only one that isn't, like, using, like, another artist's work. And it really throws me for a loop, and it's incredibly petty and nitpicky, but I don't like that.
I think that the game music is really good.
The game music is wonderful. I love the Dream Daddy theme.
Me as well.
I love the dot patterns. I think that, okay, back to the UI. I think that the Dream Daddy UI, in general is really nice, but I do wish there were certain points where they added some more stylistic verve to it. Like, for instance, on the screens where it has, like, the dad book. I wish there was a little bit more polish to that. It's a little bit lacking. That's a very minor thing, though.
Yeah, the dad book, yeah.
Also, personally, and this is like, I don't think there needed to be mini-games.
No, I don't think so. There's some mini-games that I enjoy. Definitely. I like the one where you build a gargoyle. All the others I'm either neutral towards or hate them.
Yeah, I don't like any of the ones during the Brian route, despite him being my favorite. I don't really like the Joseph ones either.
How often are there minigames, can I ask?
There's at least one per route.
Yeah, they try to put them in each date for the most part. Matt has one where you work through a crowd.
I hate that one.
I don't know. I don't know. It feels also, just feels a little bit cowardly to me to have mini games in a visual novel that much. Not cowardly, but it just feels a little bit like, I don't know, ashamed.
Yeah, where it's like, you really don't want it to be a visual novel.
You want to find something else like, oh no, they're getting bored. It's like, I don't think you should believe in yourself some more, bud.
Nemo, do you remember if Craig had minigames?
I don't think Craig had any minigames.
And this is another reason why he's my favorite.
As we're leading out of the episode, can I read you the dialogue from the confrontation between Robert and the player if you go on Joseph's third date?
Yeah, absolutely.
Player? That doesn't sound like Joseph. I turn around to find Robert! Hey! What's he doing here? So, how's Joseph? And then I'm just gonna go reading the dialogue, but he seems very angry, very, very angry. He's going through some stuff. So I guess he's your friend now, huh? Your pal? Oh, he's... Robert, you're my friend too. And I suppose two friends just spend the night out on a private yacht together, being buds, chatting about friendship? Is that what two friends do? Robert, come on, you know I'm not like that. You might be an idiot, but I'm not. What's your problem with Joseph anyway? I don't like Joseph. I don't trust Joseph. Joseph is a bad guy and I don't want him around you. Robert, you committed petty larceny last week and think you're haunted by the Dover ghost. It was the goddamn Dover ghost. Joseph's not who you think he is. What? Ask him about it sometime. Bring it up and watch your back when you do, because that guy will put a knife right in it. You're both awful. You deserve each other. I'll tell Mary you said hi.
Why do we say we're awful?
You're seducing a married man.
Oh, that's true. Yeah, we deserve that one.
I do like that he confronts you.
My conclusion about Dream Daddy is I like it. I think there are some places where it could use a lot of work. Specifically in terms of, like, the visual UI, and also the minigames just don't need to be there. But it has great writing, and, like, as a game, I just enjoy it quite a bit.
Rating?
Oh, yeah! I'm gonna give Dream Daddy a B+.
Am I allowed to rate Dream Daddy?
I think you deserve
I think you can.
You're our podcast guy.
As a beginner daddy, if you'd like. I'm gonna give it, like, a B+. I'll give it a B. I don't know enough about the game, but I think it's pretty good. I think it goes to its concept and it executes it well. You could do a lot worse with a game about dads. Ed?
I guess I'm gonna give it an A, as both as a veteran DILF appreciator. I do love that you can both date dads, but also I like that it's at its core about being a dad.
Yeah. Thank you for listening to DigiDate. My name is Milo, and this podcast has been going. And it's been going. And now it's gone.
My name's Nemo, and I'm gonna fuck your dad. Happy Father's Day.